no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
We all have a list like this. We all have a collection of things that we know would make our lives better. From getting up to watch the JumpStarts, I get so many people who message me and say, I'd have to get up an extra half hour early to watch those JumpStarts. I just don't think I'm going to do that. Okay, that's totally fine, even though they say that they would love to have the inspiration and everything. Now, the great thing about the JumpStarts, of course, is that you can always listen later. A lot of people do that. A lot of people listen on delay and watch later on. But I made a list this morning, and that's one of the things I want to invite you to do. Number one, to acknowledge that you have a list of SISBD, stuff I should but don't do, okay? We all have a list of things like that. I was talking with someone the other day, and this person admitted to me that he never balanced his checkbook, and he's close to 60 years old, and all of his life he's never balanced his checkbook. And he told me this as if he had been doing something bad or illegal most of his life. And I said, what's interesting? I don't balance my checkbook a lot of the times either. A lot of people don't. We tend to think that everyone else does and that we don't. Therefore, we tend to be a little bit hard on ourselves about the stuff we should do, but don't. For example, eating vegetables. I put that in there because that's something that I struggle with. Being vegan, believe it or not, because I tend to eat sometimes processed foods, meat substitutes that are made out of pea protein and things like that. So it's difficult sometimes to get myself to do this. So first, I want you to understand that you have a list of things that would enhance your life, probably wouldn't take a heck of a lot of extra effort on your life, on your time, but you don't do them. So first I want to explain to you that you have the list, I have the list. Don't feel like you are unique. Feeling that one is perpetually unique is always a good way of getting yourself not to do something. For example, people think, I'm the only one that doesn't feel like going to the gym. Everyone else feels like going to the gym. No one feels like going to the gym. Trust me. Now, you may want to go and see your friends there. Or you may want to go in and feel good after or burn off some aggression or something like that. But people think that you have to want to do something. A lot of times, you're never going to want to do this. When you identify the stuff you should do but don't, when you identify those things, you're going to realize that everybody has these things. You are not perpetually unique. And when you embrace that you're just being human, and then don't ascribe superhuman attributes to other people. That's something that we do for ourselves. We're far too critical on ourselves, and then we tend to come around and think that other people have it all together, whereas we don't. Simply not true. So understand that you're just like everybody else. If you're struggling to get yourself to recycle or anything, then you're just like everybody else. Now, why do we do that? If we know what is good for us, then what is it about us that gets us not to do it? Well, I made several notes on that. Number one, as I've said many times, we are an ego and a higher consciousness. We are both the most basest of animals, and we are the highest expressions of God in human form. We are both of those things. Now, the thing is, just as has been shown by the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder, just as in those cases, we are a mixture of both of those things inside of ourselves. And so our higher self sees the things that we might do. Our ego self wants us not to do them. Now, why would that be? Because our ego really doesn't care what we do one way or the other, as long as it is in control. And your ego, as I've said before, many have called it an acronym for edging God out. It is reducing your higher self. It is becoming an animal that is living in survival. It is being afraid and etc. It is most often showed up when we're hungry, we're angry, we're lonely, or we're tired. There's the old whole thing about halt. Avoid halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Because our ego gets stirred up. And that's that dark side of our personality. We all have it. I have it. Everyone has it. One of the things I like about reading Pema Chodron, the great Buddhist nun, I was reading one of her books on vacation, and that she talks about how she is just as petty and ego-driven as all of us at some points, and that's why she meditates and teaches meditation and practices Buddhism to keep that ego side of us in check. So there's a part of you that is going to scuttle your best intentions. If you haven't seen it yet, it's there. The other thing is that in the book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about the fact that willpower is a depreciating asset. Let me say that again. Willpower is a depreciating asset. What that means is that when you go to the grocery store, if you buy vegetables, you are more likely, because you've exercised willpower, because you know that you want vegetables in your life, not necessarily because you want to eat them. But if you buy vegetables, you are more likely when you get all the way around to buy some beer and ice cream because you have depreciated your willpower. When you are using your willpower to get yourself to do things that you know that you should do, but you can't seem to get yourself to do them, then that willpower depreciates over time. That's why it's super important not to pick a dozen things. I got up this morning and I made a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that I thought of that I could do more of or do, period, that I would like to do that would be beneficial to me. But as you've heard me say, and many people say, I just can't seem to get myself to do that. I just can't seem to get myself to do that. Well, here's another mistake that people make when they're trying to get themselves to do something. They will get an accountability partner. Now, that's a great idea. I had an accountability partner a couple of times when I was doing bodybuilding. And it was great to send off my results every single day of what my amount of weight lifted was, etc., and to get feedback and also on my diet, etc. The challenge is that most people pick an accountability partner who is going to actually scuttle your attempts and not help you. Here's what I mean. Good friend of mine knows she needs to do yoga, loves to do yoga. The challenge is she just can't seem to get herself to get up and go do yoga. So what did she do? She got an accountability partner. She was talking to someone about really wanting to get herself to go and do yoga on a regular basis. And she invited an accountability partner who also can't seem to get herself to go to yoga on a regular basis. So what these two women do is they meet to go to yoga together. All sounds really, really great, right? So far. But where they meet is this, Missouri food is all I can think about it. It's called the Corner Cafe. For those of you in Kansas City, you know what I'm talking about. There's several locations. They serve, I kid you not, cinnamon rolls that are bigger than your head. You can feed an office off one cinnamon roll. And they're very famous for all this food hanging off the plate. So what do you think has happened? Do you think these two women go to yoga? No. They always seem to convince one another, because neither of them wants to do it, to go inside and have some breakfast, and maybe they'll go to yoga that afternoon. So be careful. Don't put your life off on someone else. It is not someone else's responsibility to be an accountability partner for you. If you want an accountability partner, find someone who's already doing it and then mimic them and ask them for guidance or feedback. You'll be surprised at how easily they will share their knowledge with you because they want to help you. So, why else do we keep ourselves from doing the things that we know we should do? And this is something that was actually popularized by a man named Gay Hendricks. I highly recommend his work. He wrote a book in which he talked about upper limiting. And I am so guilty of this. What is upper limiting? Upper limiting is when we know, for example, let's see, If you're going to, I'm going to make this up on the spot. If you're going to go out on a date and you're very excited because you met this person through a dating app and they seem ideal and perfect, and you're going to meet at 7:30 because that's the earliest this person can get there, and the movie you're going to see starts at 7:40, so you've got to be right on time, and so you get all dressed, maybe even early so that you're ready. Brush your teeth 2 or 3 times to make sure you got fresh breath. And then as it's time to go, you can't find your car keys. Of all the times when you need your car keys the most, you can't find the car keys right now. That's called upper limiting. It's where we sabotage ourselves. It's where we screw ourselves up. Because again, our egos want to maintain control, and we'll use our subconscious to even do it. So, if there are things that you know that you should do in your life that would enhance your life, the first thing I want you to do, and this is what I did, was write them down. Number 1, you'll be surprised at how few they are. You tend to think, oh, my life is all out of control and everybody else's life is great. No, not true. Number 1, write them down. Write down the things that you wish you could get yourself to do. The interesting thing is, and I did this about 10 days ago when I came up with this idea, is during that 10-day time, I have started doing those things more regularly than before, simply by becoming aware of them. One of them, for example, as we've talked about, one of the things I want to do is to create the feeling of calmness and relaxation in my body as often as possible throughout the day, and so that whenever I'm experiencing stress, I can stay calm and relaxed. Now, am I doing things to support that? Somewhat, yes, meditating, etc. Am I doing things that I know I should not do that are taking me away from my goal? Oh yeah. This time last year, I was drinking a pot of coffee every single day because I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'd make a pot of 10 cups of coffee and then I'd start drinking. Now, as you know, that's about 5 mugs. But I would sit there and I would drink coffee. And then I couldn't understand why I had indigestion every day, why I'd get this burning in my chest every single day. And so what I did was, Mark Twain put it so great. He says, you don't, I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember it exactly, but you don't throw a habit out the window. You coax it down the stairs. So what I did was I went from 10 cups to 8 cups. And now I'm still drinking somewhere around 6 cups, although I don't finish the pot. So that's a 40% reduction. The other thing that I've started to do this morning is I poured myself a cup of tea after I had my coffee. And that's one of the things you can do, is get yourself to start doing something that you know is good for you. If you've got something that you know is bad for you, if it is going to lessen what you're doing. For example, I have a good friend that will drink what he calls an adult beverage at night, and then that lowers his resistance to having a second. Before you know, he's had a third. So he knows that one of the things he can do is to chug a big glass of water in between to keep himself from getting drunk. That's not what his goal is. Anyway, so he will do that. So add something in. If you can add something in to help negate, that's why I want to make myself drink a cup of tea, get myself to drink a cup of tea every single morning. So you are probably upper limiting yourself. Your ego is trying to take control, and you also think that you are perpetually unique, that everybody else is balancing their checkbook, exercising, meditating, playing with their dog more often. One of the things that I still don't do, and I realized, is get myself up once an hour to stretch. I will sit here and work all day, and then at the end of the day, I can barely move. So make a list of the things that you'd like to incorporate into your life. Understand what may be preventing you, and then begin to practice little things that will take you in that direction. And finally, don't expect someone else to do it for you. It's unfair to them, and it's not going to be effective for you. All right? Let's take a look at everybody's comments and questions here before we check out. Liz Schmidt says, best cinnamon rolls. Aren't they, though? Oh, my gosh. Cynthia says, Corner Cafe, Westport. I love that place. Yeah, the one I'm talking about is down near, I can't think, Northmore. Yes. A little late, says Heather Ellis. Happy day, everybody. Good to see you all. So listen, I want you to remember that you've got stuff you should do, but you don't. And you're normal in that. And if one of those things is meditation, you should join us for a meditation. Let me show you the image that we're going to use this morning. I used this once before, but I thought it was so beautiful. I wanted to use it again. Isn't that beautiful? So we're going to be meditating live in about 9 minutes, a dozen or so of us. So be sure and come in and check it out if you haven't yet. Check out complaintfreemeditation.com, complaintfreemeditation.com. And before you split this morning, click share, click share, click share. Thank you very much. That's how we build our group. We only had 3 people click share yesterday. Thank you to those of you who do every single time. We usually get about a dozen. So thanks again. Believe it or not, it actually helps a lot. I'm going to type this in here, www. So you can check us out this morning. You get a free 30-day trial. If you're a member of the Complaint Free Life program, you get it for half price, ongoing. That's continuing. So check out complaintfreemeditation.com. All right, everybody. Love you all. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Make it a great day. And whatever you do, enjoy today. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more